Good morning. Happy Monday. Well, believe me, it ain't so happy for Yankee fans today, but welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Taz. I am here with Rob. Donald is not available today. We hope he is enjoying his Monday, though. I'm sure he's sleeping after yesterday's live stream. And anybody that did hang out with the guys last night, we appreciate you and thank you all very much for hanging out with the boys. But I got to say, look, are we a bunch of frauds? I mean, this team, they couldn't beat Boston. They couldn't beat Baltimore. How do we expect to win this division? How do we expect to maintain our lead in the division if we can't beat the teams within it? I mean, that's going to be a major problem. This roster is flawed. There's nothing they could do right. Every little hiccup seems like, every speed bump. I made this comment on the upper deck yesterday. Every hiccup just seems like it's such a major problem. And obviously, those who know me know I'm being extremely sarcastic. And this dog is just not cooperating with me today, moving my table all over the freaking place. So I apologize for the camera shifting. But I want to take I really want to take a dive into the games. But I do have to give a very special thank you to Sierra for jumping on with Len for the upper deck yesterday. Sierra, you killed it. I was so happy to see that you enjoyed yourself. Everybody enjoyed you on the show. And let's just hope that this is just a sign of things to come. And to everybody else in the chat, let's just start off with the roll call and then we'll start getting aggravated. Let's just welcome everybody while we're still in a good mood. We got Stephen B in the building. What's going on, Stephen B? Jonathan, how are you doing, my guy? Nosebleed section, how are you doing this morning? Sunil is hanging out with us this morning. You also have Lou in the chat. What's going on, Lou? Good morning to you. You got, of course, our resident mom of the chat, Joan. What's going on, Joan? We also, and there she is on cue. Sierra, good morning to you. We also have Jason from 161 hanging out with us this morning. Jason, yes, happy belated Father's Day to everybody, all the fathers that are in the chat. And if you are not subscribed to 161 River Ave, please do yourself a favor, go do so. Puts out great content. He's a great friend to the family here. We got FJ hanging out with us also this morning. Dev Finch with the spooky pick. What's going on, Dev? We also have everybody's favorite YouTube name. We got Cold Italian Pizza. We also have, and there he is. They were wondering where he was going to be. What's going on, Ken? Good day for time off. Absolutely. And let's get into the conversation with that. You had, look, rough series are going to happen. It's just part of the game. It's just part of the ebbs and flows of baseball. It's a long season. This is the chat. I'm the uncle for everybody. This is my uncle, Uncle Jigga Man Porto. What's going on, Jigga? How you doing? Look, series like this are going to happen, and it's one of those. It is what it is. Rough games, rough series. You catch a team. Look, the Red Sox have been feeling themselves. They had a really good series against the Phillies before before facing us, and they were riding high. Are they going to be a threat long term? I don't think so. I really don't. I think that if they really keep this momentum going, can changes be made? Absolutely. The trade deadline is still a ways away for teams to really evaluate and see if they're going to be able to make a run. But the Yankees also need to start self-evaluating their roster. The biggest issue has been the catching position. We gave them credit last week where they've really been working well with the pitching staff. You saw a little bit with their bat, but you saw a major issue yesterday with Trevino. 9 stolen bases in a game. Unacceptable. I'm sorry. I don't care if your name is Trevino, Posada, Johnny Bench. I don't care. You cannot let a team run rampant on you like they did last night. That was that's what really sealed the deal of Boston winning the series. I know, Rob, I can see you itching back there, ready to get your 2 cents in. But I just really, it's really depressing to see. Trevino just didn't. I don't know what was going through his head. All the mental lapses. That was unacceptable last night. Especially when you're trying to win a series, and series is supposed to be keeping this team alive. Not winning every game, but winning 90% of their series that they've been playing. And it just adds on to the frustration when it's Boston. I don't care what space they are where they are in the division, what their roster construction is, how high we're going. You can't let Boston embarrass you the way they did. That pissed me off. Rob, how's it going this morning?
Hey, catching is not the biggest issue on this team. I'm sorry. I know it was a terrible game last night, but up until last night, Trevino has been doing fine. It's not he hasn't been great, but he was a lot better than he was last night in the past. And same thing with Austin Wells. Stroman was pitching slow. His velocity's been down for the last few starts. I'm a little bit concerned about Stroman. I'm not overly concerned about the Yankees catching. They're not going to go out there and make a move for a catcher. They need to figure out first base. They need to figure out second base. They need to figure out third base because they're getting little to no production from those three positions right now. And they can survive with two very good pitch framers and one really, really bad night from Jose Trevino. I don't think it's going to happen that often where teams are going to be stealing left and right against him. Boston is a steal first team. They don't have a ton of offense to go with. They don't have a ton of offense with them right now, so they have to create it. They have a lot of speed. The bottom of their order is very fast. They don't get on base very often, but when they do, they can steal. Duran, very, very fast. They have a fast team. They took advantage of Stroman's slow delivery. Trevino doesn't have the best arm, but he has never given up 9 stolen bases in a game. So I chalk this up as a terrible game. Do I think it's going to be a continuing trend? Probably not. But to say catching is the biggest issue on this team, I'm sorry. No, it's not. The bullpen's a bigger issue. First base is an issue because we don't have one right now. If Rizzo's out for any extended amount of time, I don't trust DJ. He can't hit. Li might be right about him. I mean, we don't have a third baseman. Cabrera isn't very reliable. Torres can't hit. His fielding's been a little bit better, but he can't hit. And I talked about Rizzo already before he got hurt. Rizzo has been terrible. So the Yankees have a lot more that they need to figure out besides catcher. I think they will be fine with Trevino and Wells. I don't think they're going anywhere. We know how much Cole loves Trevino. We know how much Trevino prides himself on his defense. So there's more holes than catcher. I think they're going to attack third base specifically. And hey, maybe this Rizzo injury will be an excuse for them to call up one of these two kids. So, yeah, at this point, anyone can hit the ball harder than DJ LeMahieu. Do I think there's reason to be concerned? A little bit. Am I going to overreact and say this team sucks? No. Am I going to overreact and say the season's over? No. Am I going to overreact and say we're going to lose a division? No. These kind of series will happen over the course of a 162 game season. The Yankees were like 17-4-1 and 2 in series this year going into this set. We're bound to lose a couple, even in division, especially against Boston in Fenway. These things have happened to the Yankees in the past. Remember 09, the Yankees were the best team in baseball that year, and we didn't beat the Red Sox for the first 9 games. So this is nothing new where we struggle. And Mello, I don't think the team sucks. I really don't. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. No, this team does not suck. This team does not have 50 wins before we reach 75 games played and say that they suck. They've beaten some really good teams. And look, they're a golden opportunity missed them last night. Bases loaded, nobody out, 3-0 count, and you can't score a run. That right there lost the game. I know it went south after that, but the entire series, the entire game goes differently if the Yankees put together a crooked number in that inning, which they should have. That was the game right there. The Yankees lost the series. Boston outplayed us. They had a much better game plan. Tip your cap to them. Hopefully next time we see them, we can beat them up. And let's just hope that they take this day off to look at what they need to do. If Rizzo has to go on the IL, figure out who you're calling up, whether it's Rice or whether it's Rumfield. I personally would choose Rumfield, but I wouldn't be opposed to Rice. Let's just see what happens against Baltimore. We've seen the Yankees do not take one series and let it affect them to the next. It hasn't happened this year because we struggled against Seattle technically, came back and played pretty well. We struggled against the Dodgers, came up and beat up Kansas City. So anything can happen. We do play poorly against the AL East, which is, you're right, Sierra, it is frustrating, but anything can happen in the next series with this team. I said it last night on the stream. I would not be surprised if they came out and beat up on the Orioles, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we get our asses kicked because that's how good the Orioles are. But we just have to wait and see. One game is not going to affect, or one series is not going to affect this team's trajectory right now because they still are very good. They're about to get better in a week or so when Cole is back, and we'll just have to wait and see. But Seattle is not in our division, Mello. In division games in series are always difficult. Even against Toronto, who's not very good this year, we struggled. You know, it does. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but we should not let this June series affect the way we're thinking about the way this team's going to perform in October, because a lot can happen in the next few months.
Yeah, it goes to the old adage, right? You have a 162 game season. You know, the best teams are going to lose 50. The worst teams are going to win 50. It's what you do in those in between, you know, in the middle of the season that really separates you from the pack and defines you. This is a team that was the first team to 30 wins without their ace, where in the first month, our captain really was not contributing at all. And we're also the first team to 50 wins. So what tells you now that they can't be the first team to 70? You know, it's Boston. It's a division series. It was a Father's Day weekend, so there were premium games for us. It was the first time we had faced them this year, which is the latest we've ever started against Boston. Now, we just caught them at a bad time for us. That's really all it is. I just don't, and I do expect going into this Orioles series that the Yankees they're going to look for vengeance, and you're going to see it because we saw after that Orioles series where we lost that 3 out of 4, the Yankees just were they were unstoppable. It was everything just started like we're not going to let this derail our season. They're just their hands are being twisted to do it again, and I believe they can. It sucks about the look. I know about we're talking a little bit also about first base. Let's skip ahead a little bit to Rizzo because I think that's a big part of the series going forward. Jason from 161 threw in the chat earlier, and it's somebody that Rob has been very high on. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I just put up the comment here. Rumfeld seems to be the most logical fit for first base if Rizzo goes on the IL. Let's just pull it, just bite the bullet, pull him up, bring him up. What is he not going to do that who we have now is not doing already? We're already seeing them starting to struggle. What's the worst that can happen? We get the same production, which is a lack, or he's gonna shine and he's gonna win us some games.
There really is no answer for it because you don't ever know. But you're right. You can't get much worse than what we've been getting at first base. Anthony Rizzo. Donald's brought up the stats constantly over his last 500 at bats, going back to his concussion, has been statistically one of the worst players in baseball. That's not an attack on Rizzo. That's not us saying we hate the guy. That's just bringing up a statistic and a fact. He's been really, really bad. Gleyber Torres has not hit well enough this year to justify him playing every day.
Yeah.
He also hasn't fielded very well this year to justify him playing every day. DJ LeMahieu, it's only been a handful of at-bats, but he does not look like a guy that you need to be playing every single day. And the same goes for Oswaldo Cabrera. Would I like to see more of Cabrera? Sure, because at least he's got athleticism to him that the other three don't really have. Why not? If Rizzo has to hit the IL, give him as much time as he needs. Let's see what we have in one of these two kids, because you have to protect them on the 40-man or else you risk losing them in the Rule 5. So either call one of them up or trade them. But now's as good a time as ever to get one of them up. And let's be honest, I know Peraza stinks right now in AAA, but again, I would be more than willing to see what he can do here. I know people are going to be like, how can you say that? He's hitting like 1-something in AAA. We are getting zero production from the bottom of the order right now, whether it's Rizzo, Torres, LeMahieu. At least Trevino hit a home run last night. His offensive production has been really good this year, surprisingly. A lot better than Austin Wells. We have to try something out. Jahmai Jones is kind of just there, taking up a roster spot. You might as well either play him or give somebody else a shot, because these guys right now don't really need to be playing every single day. And if Rumfield's their choice, great. I personally would choose Rumfield, but if they went with Rice, I would not be opposed to it. He's got a fantastic bat, and he's played enough first base, not as much as Rumfield, but he's played enough first base that I think he can do it at the major league level. So we'll just see what they do, but we'll find out more information today about Rizzo. He's going to go for imaging, but they should IL him just to be safe. And they have an open spot, I believe, on the 40-man right now. Even if they didn't, they can DFA a Clayton Andrews or Jay Cousins to free up a spot. So I think they need to do it. Just get some youth, get some athleticism at one of these three positions, and maybe you get a little bit of a change. Again, it cannot be worse than what we're getting right now, because what we're getting right now is literally nothing from three different positions in the infield.
Yeah, and you guys putting a comment on here, the team morale, that is that could spiral you in either direction. You could, the Yankees could either dwell on it and have this linger, or they could respond. And this season specifically, they've responded after having a tough game or a tough series. So I have to follow the trend that the Orioles are in for a fight. Because I think the Yankees are going to respond. But with Rizzo and Torres, they have to go. I feel bad for Rizzo. I really do, because these IL stints that he's been on has not been because it's not his fault. It's the whether it was last year with Tatis running back to the base on an attempted pickoff, or last night, colliding with first base. I'm like, come on, like this guy, he's doing everything he can to be, to contribute to the team. We've been trying to think maybe age is coming into question, but he was really starting to pick things up a little bit. And then next thing you know, here he is hurt again. And I do feel bad for Rizzo, because he does want. It's not for lack of effort. It's not anything that he's doing. It's almost like getting a foul off the foot. It's not like he's diving into a wall for a ball he had no chance for. So I just think that it's unfortunate, but the trade deadline is still a little too far away to make trades, unless you're not going to see a blockbuster trade right now.
No,
so
they're not
you
going to
might
make
as well
any
just go with either a Ben Rice or TJ Rumfeld.
Might as well, yeah. And it really does suck about Pereira, but he wouldn't really serve a purpose on this team right now. They don't need an outfielder unless they can teach him how to play first base. That's really it. We just lost Pereira for the season, and Dominguez is back on the IL. Two outfielders now on and Greg Allen as well. So the Yankees are kind of losing depth out there in AAA, but they're not cutting anybody. They're not gonna trade anybody yet. They can't trade certain people like DJ LeMahieu because for multiple reasons. One, no trade clause. Two, he's got the 10-5 rule. Three, he's terrible, so no one's going to take him. So, I mean, you're not getting rid of DJ LeMahieu unless you cut him, and they're not going to do that. So the best thing to do is just kind of take the chance with one of those first basemen if you put Rizzo on the IL. Let Rizzo get as much time as he needs. He's old. He's slow. He's terrible right now. Give him some time off. Hopefully that can get him rejuvenated. And get one of these kids up here. And then if you don't want to use Jahmai Jones, what is he here for? Give that shot to somebody else. Let's see what we have there while we have some breathing room. You can use this time to experiment a little bit with a couple of these kids. We're not asking for them to do a complete roster overhaul. We're asking to call up like 2 players. 1 or 2 players, at least one. Rumfield or Rice need to be here. I'm not asking them to replace every position right now. That's going to be a July, August type of thing that they do. So we'll just see what happens over the next 24 hours with Rizzo. If he can't play the Baltimore series, just IL him.
Yeah.
Because going with Cabrera and DJ at third and first is not a good recipe for success. I don't want to see DJ playing every day. Yeah, and Dominguez wasn't coming up anyway, but it just sucks because now he's probably a September call-up. Most likely, if he's even healthy by then.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the Dominguez thing kind of throws just a little hiccup into the expectations for the second half of the year. Excuse her for a second. But no, I think the best option to go, you don't want to make a drastic move. It's not the most popular, and I know it goes against what you were just saying, Rob, but say they do have Cabrera at third and DJ at first, but you bring up a Rumfield or a Rice where they can you can get a feel for them to give either one of those guys a day off, plug them in for a game or 2 for a week, just to give them just for us to see where they're at on the major league level, and also to give guys like DJ who are an aging player, a chance to kind of ride the bench for a day or 2. Like that's also an option. It's not a popular option, but an option.
Yeah, and I mean, it sucks because it was 2 games that we're really talking about, and a lot of people are making it seem like the sky is falling here, and that's what happens when you're when you're the New York Yankees. Every slight hiccup turns into catastrophic. It's like if we got hit by a Category 5 hurricane or something in the Bronx. It's not the case. This is a team that's still very, very good, but the holes that we've been talking about since the first day of the season are still there. We've been talking about this throughout the spring, throughout the offseason. If there's going to be any hole on this team, it's probably going to be what's Rizzo going to be post-concussion? What's Torres going to be in a contract year? I thought he'd be a lot better than this. And who's going to play third base because LeMahieu was hurt and then Birdie got hurt. For a good 2 weeks, Cabrera was that guy, but he's regressed to the mean, and he's not a very good hitter. He can be a decent hitter, but he's not played very well. So again, you've got right now, you've got 4 players that are playing, or 3 of them that are playing every day that are giving you little to no production. It's worth a discussion to get somebody up here that can maybe do better. And again, it's not hard for them to do better because statistically Rizzo is not very good. Torres is not very good. That at bat by Torres last night was the most pathetic swing I've ever seen. 3-0, you take 2 pitches right down the middle, and then you swing at one that was going to the Bronx from Fenway. And that right there changed the game because what happens the next at bat? Strikeout. And then DJ lines out. The game was over right there. Once Torres struck out, the game was over. So the game could have been won. We had like a 58% win probability, and we were losing at that time. And then once he struck out, the Red Sox had the better probability to win. So, yeah, baseball is a game of momentum. If the Yankees had scored like 4 runs in that inning, the bullpen, we don't go to Caleb Ferguson. We probably go with a different bullpen alignment. I mean, maybe win that game. Maybe. Who knows?
Even if they scratched out a run and tied it.
Yeah, the game would have been changed.
Change everything as well.
Exactly. So it's a tough game. You chalk it up as a bad series. There's no other way of sugarcoating it. It was sugarcoating it. Their 2 games in a row were bad. Rodon was bad, but at least he bounced back. Stroman stunk last night, but at least he gave you 5 and kept you in the game. Bullpen stunk. The bullpen absolutely stunk. The catching stunk. The offense did not get it done in big spots, and that will happen. Let's just try to beat Baltimore. That's all we can hope for. Thank God there's a day off today, and let's hope they can just go out and play better against the Orioles because they need to.
Yeah, we can't let the speed bump because look, the starting pitchers have been, have really been the story this year. It sucks that it was in back-to-back games, but let's not let the speed bumps of the starters turn them into mountains. They're not sinkholes. You're gonna be fine. I'm not worried about. We'll see what their next start, how they respond, but I have all the confidence in them from what I've seen this year that their next outing, these two games are going to be forgotten, and I think we're going to see it immediately tomorrow against Baltimore. I think we're going to see that quick turnaround where it's like, okay, it happens. We move forward. Stroman, I thought, was the one that had the tougher outing than Rodon, because, like you said, Rodon had those first couple of innings where it just looked like he didn't know what to do, and just anything he threw, they were doing something with, and then he kind of coiled it up a little bit, and he was able to get on a good run. But Stroman, he was just flat last night. I think the only thing that really kept him was the pitch count, because they really were. He wasn't working the counts, so he was able to get a little bit deeper into the game. Just one, because of the game before. That's why I think the off day today is so important for the Yankees, because it gives them a chance to reset. If they had a game tonight, I might be a little more concerned because of the bullpen usage. But I think that having this off day, I think it was perfectly timed by the baseball schedule that they're able to regroup a little bit.
Yeah, I said it earlier, and I said it last night on the stream. I am a little bit concerned with Stroman. I don't know if his hip is acting up or if it's an arm injury, but his velocity is down. And I said that the entire stream. I was like, his fastball, which isn't very fast, but it's like 92, maybe 93. He was hitting like 88. His velocity was down, and down by a good amount. It's not like he lost like a mile per hour or two. He was down by like 3 or 4 miles an hour. There was no movement at all on his pitches. He was leaving everything over the plate, and a lot of his breaking stuff was in the dirt, and just we're not going to swing at that. So he was giving up free passes. He was giving up walks, which led to stolen bases. He was giving up hard contact the entire night. I don't know if he's hiding an injury. I don't want to put any bad energy out there, but I hope that's not the case. But they might need to look into this, because this is now 2 or 3 starts in a row where his velocity has been down. Is he just tired? Is it a dead arm? Is that hip injury from last year creeping back up on him? Because that's what derailed his season last year. He was pitching fantastic, and then that hip injury in the second half really just took him out. I hope that's not the case. And FJ, who's out when Cole returns, probably Poteet. But if someone's hurt, that answers your question. The same thing was answered when Clark Schmidt went down. So well, just again, everything's a wait and see game, but I am a bit concerned with Stroman because he did not look good last night at all. I hope it's just a rough game or a rough stretch, and next start he goes back out there and plays better. But that dip in velocity over the last few starts is a bit concerning.
Yeah, and to where was the comment here? Joan points out quarter outmanaged Boone, and look, we I don't want to. Obviously, there were a lot of things that pointed to Boone as to take the brunt of it of losing a series. But I don't want to. I don't want to overly bash Bone for one bad series, because he has made more better decisions than bad to get us to where we are. Because if we were 5 games above 500 during the series, it would be exemplified a lot more. But we're with this type of lead and this type of season that we're having, you just gotta you vent about it and you move on to the next series. That's all we can do. I know it's not the fun thing to do. It's not we all just want to come on here and just scream and curse our heads off. But sometimes just like what the Yankees need to do, level heads need to prevail, and you just move forward. You point out the mistakes, you critique, you move on.
Yeah, and look, when you have 50 wins,
It's hard to be critical.
it's hard to be critical, but
Overly critical.
all we're doing is just pointing out that this is a team that is not perfect, yet they've been able to survive some really, really rough stretches from players, at least some rough starts from players. We're just talking about trying to plug those holes.
Yeah.
That's about it. Rizzo is a liability at this point. Torres is a liability at this point, and some of these bullpen arms, I mean, they can look to improve that as well. Hamilton does not look good. Canely had a good outing, but he's not very
I don't
trustworthy.
trust
And
Canely.
I'm a little bit concerned about this bullpen because after Holmes and Tonkin, really, and maybe even Weaver, but Holmes has kind of hit that wall we talk about every year because he's been rough the last few outings. Weaver's numbers have jumped up a little bit, but he's been fine for $2.5 million. You can expect that. Hamilton is not very good. Ferguson's unusable. Victor Gonzalez hasn't really been great. So Marinaccio really has a handful of games to his credit, so we really can't be overly critical on him. Outside of Tonkin, there really is no lockdown reliever on this team. That's something they're going to have to really, really, really look for. I think they get maybe one or two bullpen arms, and they might get one infielder, maybe a third baseman just to kind of platoon guys. That's probably it. They're not going to go overly crazy when it comes to the July 3rd, or is it the 30th now? I don't know when the deadline is anymore. But whenever the deadline is, they're not going to make 4 or 5 moves like they did in 2022. They're going to make one or two, maybe get a second bullpen arm. But they also have guys coming back. Ross will be healthy later in the year. Brew Baker is a guy that I'm really excited for second half of the season. They have arms like Yoendrys Gomez that they should call up at some point. I don't know why he's still there. When Clayton Beater's healthy, he's going to be an option. Jack Neely should be someone that they're looking at. They have options in the bullpen that they can kind of cut some of this dead weight. The bullpen does not need – I don't even think Nestor would be very good in the bullpen, Lynn. I really don't. I don't think he's coming out of the bullpen and giving you – we need strikeouts out of the bullpen. Nestor Cortez is not a strikeout pitcher. I'd rather keep Nestor in the rotation. Look, I would rather leave Nestor in the rotation right now. At least you're getting 5, 6, 7 innings out of him consistently. I'd rather that stay in rotation. I don't really want him in the bullpen. I want a strikeout guy, and Jack Neely would do that. Yoendrys Gomez would do that, and a trade for a guy like Tanner Scott would do that, or Andrew Nardi. They need strikeouts. That's what they desperately need out of this bullpen right now.
Yeah, it's. I think whichever starter is going to go to the bullpen, if that's the case, if they're not moved for other pieces, then it's going to be. Look, there's some that are going to like it, some that are not, and that's just the reality of the sports moves. Because we have our favorites. I think I would move Torres. I would move Nestor to the bullpen, but it wouldn't surprise me if Nestor starts rolling a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if they traded him, for a piece, because you need to have. I don't see Nestor as the future of this rotation, and I like Nestor. The fans love him. He's a great clubhouse guy. But are you holding on to Nestor, or are you going to look to make sure you have room for Schmidt and Heel? So, that's where that comes in. That's where that mindset for me comes in. But before we get really too far, let's get to everybody's favorite segment after the series. And I said, because we talking about the bullpen arms, and nobody has wanted strikeout pitches more than Donald.
Can I be Donald today?
Huh?
Can I be Donald today since he's not with us?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Go for it. But it is time for Donald's Awards.
Don't worry, I'm not going to try to do a bad Scottish accent here out of respect. He's going to the Foo Fighters concert, apparently. That's what he said to me yesterday. He said on the stream he's going to be at a Foo Fighters concert. So we know how big of a fan he is of that. Anyway, we're going to start things off with the MVP of this series, and Donald has given us his awards. He gave it to us last night, wrote us an essay in the group chat. So we'll start with Donald. He says this: his awards. By the time you finish reading my awards, Jose Trevino has allowed another 32 stolen bases. So keep that in mind. His MVP is Alex Verdugo. You really can't give it to anybody else. First game, the only game we won, Verdugo came out and absolutely raked. So Donald's got Verdugo, and I've got Verdugo as well.
Yeah, I had Verdugo. I mean, what a return back to Boston. Right off the gate. Verdugo was ready to just kind of flip the fingers to everybody in Boston, especially after getting booed. He's like, okay, and then decided I'm just going to put on a show.
Exactly. And we'll get the fan vote in there. Sunil, your votes do not count. I don't know if you forgot, but Stevie B says Verdugo. I'm going to assume by saying woof woof, that is Lynn's vote for Verdugo. CT Cards. By the way, I'm glad to see you in the chat again this morning, CT. Thank you for subscribing last night. Everyone's going with Verdugo. I don't think anybody else would say otherwise. Alex Verdugo is the clear-cut MVP for this series. Now, the low key. Again, we'll start with Donald since these are his awards. He goes with Garrett Cole, struck out 10 in a rehab start and gave the pitchers and Trevino the death stare from the dugout. So he's given the low-key MVP to Garrett Cole. Tats, what do you think?
See, this is where I'm going to be as unpopular as the Yankees were all series. My low key was David Hamilton, and his base running this series. He played very well. I was very impressed with watching David Hamilton. So it sucks to give it to a guy on Boston, but they won the series the way they did. Sometimes you have to. It's a tip your cap type of vote for me.
Yeah, I'm not giving a Red Sox any award. I can't do it. I think I might burn on camera. Yeah, that ain't happening. My low-key MVP, I'm going to go with Judge. He hit a towering shot over the monster, gave us some hope for at least an inning. That was about it. I was happy for maybe 45 seconds. At least yeah, I mean, I don't even remember Cam too much last night, but we'll get to ESPN in a second. yeah, that's something that we'll have to have a conversation about a little bit later on. Ken's giving it to Greg Weissert. I mean, if you're going to give it to a Red Sox, why don't you give it to the guy that struck out Torres on a 3-0 count? Speaking of pitching, let's go to the pitching award. Donald has Tonkin, the only guy that cannot give up a run. And there was some pretty bad pitching throughout this series. Luis Heel did fine. I think it was good to see him have to struggle a little bit and get out of that struggle. He gave the Yankees 5. I really can't give this to any of the starters, though. So I agree with Donald. I'm going to go with Tonkin. He's been fantastic. And if it wasn't for Heel struggling through 100 pitches, I would give it to him. But I am glad to see Heel actually have to deal with some adversity and fight through it. But I'm going to give this one to Tonkin as well.
Yeah, my pitching, I gave it to Heel. Just he was the only starter that actually. It was the only game we won. He's the only one that didn't struggle against that team. So I'm going with Heel.
Yeah, and the fan vote, the family vote, goes straight to Luis Heel. I don't think there's any question about that. Heel wins the fan vote. Now we go to the L. And Donald says, how long have you got? Stroh and Rodon fought hard, but out of nowhere, Trevino lapped them. The Titanic was still afloat the last time that many people stole a base. So, yeah, last night we were talking about how long it's been since since the Red Sox have stolen 8-9 bases in a game. We were actually rooting for them to get to 10. And that's how bad it was last night. If anyone was in the chat with us, we were cheering for 10 stolen bases or 9. Pearl Harbor had not been attacked the last time that happened. Historical events had not occurred the last time that it happened. So we witnessed history last night. A bad case for us, but he's got Trevino taking the L, and I don't know who else can get it. Jose Trevino giving up 9 stolen bases. Absolutely brutal. There's nobody else that can really take the L right there. unless it's Gleyber Torres, but I got to go with Trevino. It was just a really, really, really bad performance.
Yeah, I give it to. I had the L for Torres for that at bat that we talked about earlier. Um, that was embarrassing. I thought that at bat could have completely changed the momentum of the game.
Yeah. A lot of Gleyber Torres or Torres votes going. Everyone's using Brad's favorite line. By the way, Brad was there last night for a little bit, and I don't see him today. Learned how old Brad is, though. We were talking about the ages of some of the people in the chat. Sunil wasn't present for that, but your name was brought up a couple of times, Sunil, because of how old you are. So it looks like Gleyber Torres gets the L.
Yeah, and Spencer votes for Torres also.
Yeah, and Spencer, thank you for giving us your answers as well, Spencer. Hope you're doing all right. Now we go with the Aaron Boone Award, and Donald has a -9. Did I say more?
Such a flair for the dramatic, that guy.
Yeah, Donald. I can't give Boone any good rating. I'm just gonna give him a 0.
Yeah, that's what I had.
It was he didn't pull a pitcher when he was supposed to. I thought they should have thought about dropping a bunt at some point when they had a rally going, try to catch them off guard, just try to do something different. I don't even like bunting. But he got outmanaged. He got outclassed by Alex Cora again, and it's happened too many times. So Aaron Boone, 0. I can't give. I'm not going to go negatives. I can't give him a 1 or a 2, even though we did win a game. 0.
No, he might have gained the point if the roles were reversed, where we lost the first 2 and salvaged the last one.
Yeah,
but you can't come out the way they did and then fall the way, and then lose the series that way. No,
absolutely.
You get nothing.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Albert, Cora exposed the potential weakness, base stealing prevention that the Yankees need to correct. Yeah, and look, Trevino's a professional. He's a Platinum Glove winner. I would hope that he can get that going. Let's see the fans. A lot of zeros. 0.0 for Medina. Yeah, it's 0.
Yeah.
A 0,
There's
big
no
fat 0. Stevie says a 3 deserves a -69. Jesus Christ. That's a little too good for him. Yeah, so a 0 for Aaron Boone. And now for the Aaron Hicks Award. If you don't know what the Aaron Hicks Award is, CT, I'll fill you in. Aaron Hicks is Donald's least favorite player of all time. Might be everyone's least favorite Yankee of all time, but Aaron Hicks is considered the worst of the worst. So it can be anything for this award. It could be something you witnessed on the broadcast. Spoiler alert. It could be someone you saw in the crowd. It could be a take you saw on Twitter. It could be the fact that you didn't like your coffee this morning or that your Yes app was not working. Bobby Tats had that issue.
Which I did cancel.
He did cancel. So the Aaron Hicks Award can go to literally anything your heart desires. And Donald has this to say. Should be renamed the Gleyber Torres Award. He already named the L Award the Gleyber Torres Award, by the way. Gleyber left more people on base than Tats has fish in the freezer. Yeah, Gleyber Torres left a good 10 players on base this series, and he was terrible. So he is getting the Aaron Hicks Award. Goes to Gleyber Torres. For Tats, what are you thinking?
I had Trevino. I thought, his inability to prevent the run game, as much as, yes, to your point, Stroman had to have a better delivery to the plate, would have maybe changed some of that, but it was terrible. His ability to stop the run game, or not, the lack of ability, really pissed me off. So he got the Hicks Award this week.
A lot of votes for Gleyber Torres, a lot of votes for the announcers, the umpires, the Tristan Casas interview. ESPN is taking this award for me. I don't know what it is about these primetime broadcasts nowadays, but whether it's Fox, Apple TV, or ESPN, they are atrocious. They're interviewing the people that work the monster. They're showing graffiti or the signings on the foul pole by with a pesky's pole. Anyone who watches baseball knows about Fenway Park. Why do we need to learn the history of Fenway Park every time we're in Fenway Park? Why do we need to learn the history about Yankee Stadium whenever we're in Yankee Stadium? It's taking away from the game. Tristan Casas spoke for a good 15 minutes without breathing. They even said he was long-winded or he's got good lung capacity. That's how much he was yapping. One of his own teammates was trying to give him the signal to shut the fuck up, and he just kept on going. It was brutal. They were showing everything but the game, and I believe someone mentioned it earlier. It was a one-run game, and they were talking about the wall. I don't care about the green monster. Just like I would be very upset if they started talking about the short porch at Yankee Stadium, or if they talked about the facade at the top of our screen. You see it. I don't care. I know what it's there for. I know the history. A simple Google search can help you with these things. We don't need ESPN talking about it for 15 minutes an inning. These in-game interviews stink. They're annoying. They're unnecessary. Do it in between innings, and kind of like it's a football broadcast. I don't want to hear Juan Soto, who he thinks has the hardest hit ball, while he's fielding. It was funny, but stop taking away from the game. Just let us watch baseball.
Yeah, I think the mic up there, it's just stupid. Yeah, we saw. I mean, luckily it didn't affect Soto on the field, but we've seen a lot where you see him more often this year. I don't want to say a lot, but more often than in the past. Players actually misplaying the ball because they're too busy talking to somebody. Shut up. They got a game to play. You want to have like a quick, 10, 15 second clip with a question and answer? Go split screen. When you ask them in between innings. For 15 seconds, all right, it's going to annoy us, but I'd rather them do that than have them mic'd up on the field.
Yeah, the time for that is spring training or in between innings. Like, I know Ken brought it up. They were talking about the rehab approach for Casas, but do we need to hear for an entire inning? An entire inning? Like, if you want to have during the break, they talked to him. How's the rehab going? Oh, blah, 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 blah. It's going pretty well. Put that on for a good 60 seconds or so. Let him get his input in, and then you get some information about a rehabbing player. But do we need to hear stories about his dad going to jail or whatever the hell he was yapping about? Like, he was talking forever. And there's a baseball game going on. You would think that you switched the channel, or maybe you had like a podcast going on. Like, it was bad, and there's no need for it. There's no need for a 15-minute interview during a game. It does not need to be done. It's not like it's the former player coming into the booth. It's not like they had, I don't know, Dustin Pedroia join the booth and talk about the rivalry with the way it was back in the day. That would be interesting. He's still talking, right, FJ? Tristan Casas is still talking. He's probably still giving his interview, and we just don't know about it. It was brutal.
But no, it was just really bad. As much as I'm very as much as I disowned the Yes Network as a source for me to get baseball, they weren't that. Even the Yes Network's not that bad. It almost reminded me like when they would, with the talking of the wall. I saw it on some of the highlights. It reminded me almost of the ongoing over and over again every time they showed Todd Frazier about, meeting, right? See, I don't even have to finish it, and you're already aggravated. But that's what it feels like with these networks. Like we know. This is Yankees Red Sox. You don't think we know everything about Fenway already? We read stories about that, when they were putting us to bed as babies. We've heard it all already. We don't care. What we care about is what's being produced on the field. It's so fucking annoying.
That Todd Frazier picture might have been shown 162 times.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What's funny is Rob went on for 20 minutes ranting about a useless 15-minute interview. Oh, that wasn't 20 minutes, Sunil. I don't know if your old age has lost your concept of what time is, but good try. once again, your joke fell flat.
See, I like this from CT. Yeah, the I learned the Green Monster was green last night. But, and then Lynn throws in here. ESPN made listening to Schmaltz better in comparison. That says a lot. The broadcasting this year has really been subpar. It really has, and it's not even any. And I don't want to insult anybody that does the radio broadcasts. You know, it's they're trying to find the replacement for John, but even it's taken me a while to even get used to that. Not hearing John with Susan on the radio. You know, I just think that the broadcasting teams really need an overhaul. I think they need a trade deadline because we need to make some changes with these broadcasts. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, let's not rant too much about it, or else Sunil might get angry.
Yeah,
maybe they didn't feed Sunil this morning in the retirement home that he's sitting in.
What? Before we start, it was brought up earlier, and we haven't had a chance to really see what the cause and effect is. But the setback with Dominguez, how do we think that's going to affect the progress going forward? Or, like we've been saying, the trade deadline is still a ways away, and the way that the production's been going with the outfield, as upsetting as it is that he had this little setback, I don't think that this is going to prevent the Yankees from making any moves, or I don't think it's going to alter their decision of Dominguez's future with this team. Do you guys agree? What do you guys think of the Dominguez setback? Because with Tommy John surgery, there's usually always a setback when you get injuries like that. He had his towards the end of his rehab rather than the beginning or the middle. So is it more the timing that we're like, and then Rizzo going down, not like, and they play opposite positions. But I don't think this is as big of a deal as some people want to make it out to be.
No, it's just oblique. So hopefully, there's nothing serious there. But he wasn't going to be an option for at least a couple of months unless there was an injury to an outfielder. There was nowhere to play him. And I know people don't want to hear that. He wasn't going to be the fourth outfielder. He wasn't going to take at bats away from Stanton or Verdugo or Judge or Soto. He's going to be here next year. September probably will be an option for him. Aaron Boone said it constantly: when he's here, he's going to play. But the problem is, or the good problem is, there really is nowhere to put him right now because everyone's producing. Even Stanton, I know Stanton had a bad series, but overall his numbers have been just fine. He's still one of the better home run hitters in the game, and he's produced enough RBIs to where you're like, okay, you can survive a rough stretch here and there. He's been fine. So you're not going to replace any of those guys for Dominguez unless there's an injury. Unfortunately, Dominguez just went down. We don't know the full extent. You're absolutely right, Joan. Hopefully it's nothing crazy, but I would expect if it is an oblique strain, he's probably going to be gone for at least maybe 4 weeks, maybe a month. You'll probably see him in September.
Yeah.
And most likely September.
I don't think it derails I don't think it derails the season. I don't think it's going to alter their plan. So I just think it's just as simple as, Tommy John rehab setback. That's all it's going to be categorized as. And I think he's young enough. He's not a pitcher, so I'm not too concerned of the setback. Sometimes with a pitcher, it's not a natural movement. Sometimes the rehabs could take just that much longer. It's nothing. I don't think it's anything to worry about. And CT's throwing in a good. Go ahead, Rob.
No, I mean, you can worry about it because if it's anything serious, we want to see him this year.
I'm not going to panic
that. Yeah, what we should be is a little concerned about is Rizzo's injury.
Yeah,
because the Yankees are concerned about it. Apparently, as according to Brian Hoke, he said that the Yankees are concerned about Rizzo's injury. His test came back negative last night, but they're still sending him for imaging today. So we'll see.
Yeah, but CT's throwing some comments in here about the broadcast. You said the Sirius app has a pretty decent broadcast. So if you do have Sirius, that's another option that you guys can use to get a fairly decent broadcast of the games. So thanks for throwing that into the hat as well. Oh, here we go. Talking of injuries, the team that was that's supposed to beat us in the World Series according to MLB, Emma Yamamoto and Betts, possible IL.
Yamamoto? Is that what you called him?
Yamamoto. What did I say? Yeah, whatever I said. Yamamoto. Yeah.
You got it right there, but you definitely didn't say that right.
What else is freaking know? Yeah. Where's Umaga when I need him?
Umaga's pitching fantastic right now for Chicago. And Yamamoto is currently on the IL. That sucks, though, because he was pitching great. And I hope it wasn't because he went a little extra to try to beat the Yankees, because that man pitched his ass off against us. But his next start struggled.
Yep. Yeah, we dodged the bullet. We did. Well,
I wouldn't say that.
I don't know. Actually, I that was the saying in my head. Once I said it, I'm like, no, that's not. That's kind of harsh. I'm gonna say, luckily, our rotation has been solid enough where we haven't felt missing Yamamoto as a downside of the year. The one pitcher that we did lose, Poteet, came in. I'll bring him up for Sierra. Poteet came in and just picked up the mantle with everybody else. And so the rotation's been fine. I don't think we're missing Yamamoto on this roster.
The injury could happen to anybody. I mean, Garrett Cole got hurt, and he's the iron horse in this rotation, so it can happen to anyone. It sucks because Yamamoto was pitching really well. I know there's a lot of people that want to see him fail because of the money he got and the fact that he didn't go to the Yankees, but I don't want to see a pitcher of his stature get hurt. I want to see the best players playing. I hate the injury to him. I hate the injury to Betts. I want to see the Dodgers fully healthy because that's a really good team. It's a fun team to watch. And they have Suarez going in the first game, Albert Suarez, Cade Povich going in the second. Our pitcher is yet to be announced, and the third game is Cole Irvin. So if there was ever a time to beat up on Orioles pitching, it would be this series because we're not getting Bradish because he's hurt and Burns just pitched. So this would be the best chance to beat up on them. And what do we think before we end out here? Does Garrett Cole start Wednesday, or do they go with Poteet?
That's until I'm going to say Poteet because I don't think they haven't been too definitive on. It's not like they've already set in stone that Cole's coming back. So until he's officially announced back on the roster, I'm not going to get my hopes up that he's going to pitch. I'm going to remain patient on it.
Jones says Cole. I mean, I don't know if they should rush it. This is a pretty big series. We'll see what Cole. It's up to Cole, really. It's up to Garrett. If Garrett Cole comes out tomorrow and says, I can pitch, then they're going to let him pitch.
Yeah.
But if he says, I need one more start where I need to get to 100 pitches, then we'll probably see him against the Braves or the Mets. Most likely, I think it would line him up to face the Mets, if I'm not mistaken, because he would need Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. That would be the end of the Baltimore series. Yeah, he'd probably face the Mets, I believe. So if he pitches one,
I think it'd be the first game against the Mets would be his season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he goes rehab start Wednesday, then he would miss the entire Braves series. I'm pretty sure that's it. So why waste your bullets in AAA? That's what Cohn said. Yeah, again, it's all up to Garrett Cole. If Garrett Cole says I'm good, they're going to let him pitch. If Garrett Cole says I need to get 100 pitches in, or they could use the Baltimore game as a way to say, go throw 100 pitches. Or maybe they cap him at like 95 and say, no matter what, even if you're throwing a no-hitter, Won't put him over 100 pitches. He might need 100 as the max. But what is Lynn saying? Cole mentioned he's not needing to wait. Okay, hey, that's fine. If again, Garrett Cole says I'm going, he's going. If Garrett Cole says I'm going one more rehab, he's going one more rehab. He's in control of this, not the Yankees. That much we know.
Yeah. You mean I'm assuming you mean July, not June, not September. 25th. If we're waiting for September, then man, we're screwed.
Yeah, we got some problems.
No, it's. I also think they're also taking the pitching matchups into account. You know, if Burns was pitching during the series, knowing Cole as the competitor that he is, he's gonna. I'll give me one game. It might not. I mean, it would have been fun to have Cole versus Burns for Cole's first start, but you know, you can't always get what you want. But no, I think it's all on Cole. If Cole says he's ready, then he's gonna pitch. But I'm not expecting the announcement of his start date until the Yankees make that move where he's officially back. I don't want to get all hyped up and then he's not on there, and then you're gonna have everybody going, "Oh my God, what happened? Is he feeling okay? How many pitches did he throw? Did he sleep okay? You know, did he stub his toe this morning?" Like, you're gonna have all this stupid speculation of what happened. So until the Yankees and Cole officially make an announcement of when he's starting, I'm anticipating him not to start the series.
Yeah, plus I want to see Poteet get another shot. He's pitched really, really well.
I think he's on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy that they should consider keeping on the roster because we need innings out of the bullpen. I don't want to send him down and keep doing this up and down thing with him. I think he's earned it. But that would be at an expense of somebody like Marinaccio again, who hasn't pitched poorly enough to kick him back to AAA. They're not going to DFA anybody just yet.
Good point.
So there's some decisions to be made.
If they use Poteet out of the bullpen, that'll tell us what we.
Yeah, if Poteet pitches tomorrow night, then we know Garrett Cole is starting Wednesday. But they would announce that. They would absolutely announce that. And then what they would do is Poteet would get sent down after the game, and that would be the move for Cole. I'm expecting Poteet to get sent down because they're not going to have him pitch one game and then keep him and not have him throw for like 2 or 3 innings or 2 or 3 games. So I would think if Cole is activated Wednesday, Poteet's getting an option because they're not going to keep a 6th starter, but they should.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the move would be. I really don't. We know it's going to be Poteet, but it shouldn't be. Yeah, so I really don't know what their decision is going to be. You know what, Sunil? I'm actually going to agree with you on this one. Keep Poteet, DFA Canely. I'm okay with that. I would not.
They're not doing it. They're not DFAing Canely yet. They're not going to DFA. If they DFA'd anybody, it would be someone who's not costing them a lot of money right now, and that would probably be like Caleb. Yeah, they're not going to DFA Canely. Canely just came back. I know he's had a couple of rough outings, but stuff-wise, he's still one of their more reliable pitchers, at least when it comes to stuff. And he's also your best strikeout guy out of the bullpen. You're not getting rid of him. They're not DFAing Canely.
Yeah, I just haven't been high on Canely's performance. But no, DFA, yeah, you're right. DFAing him doesn't really make any sense. Maybe I don't know what they would do. I really don't. And I know they're going to move
Poteet or Marinaccio, one of the two. They're going to use those options to their advantage because Tonkin would have to get DFA'd, and they're not letting him go. They're not going to DFA Caleb Ferguson or Gonzalez because they're the only 2 lefties. We know Clay Holmes is untouchable. Maybe they consider Ian Hamilton. I don't know if he's still got options or not, just to try to give him a little bit of a breather, work on some stuff. Ferguson, again, they're not going to go with just one lefty. Yeah. They're not getting rid of any of these lefties. So the only other option would be it's either Marinaccio or Poteet. And if they want to put Poteet in the bullpen to be multi-inning guy, then it's Marinaccio. If they want to let Poteet keep starting in case they need him again, it's going to be Poteet. That's really your only two options.
Yeah, I mean, from a front office point of view, it actually serves the team better to option Poteet down, let him stay as a starter, and not screw up his routine. I think that's the way they would go. I think that's going to be the decision.
Man, Canely looked better this series. Canely looked a
he
lot
has
better.
been looking better. I will admit that. As much as I haven't been a fan of him this year, he did look better. I just want to see a little more consistency from him, a little more command of his own. But yeah, see, Sierra's right there. Stretch him out as the starter for when we need him in the future. Yeah, so because you don't know. You brought up earlier the question marks with Stroman with that hit. If it's starting to take a little bit of a toll. So you're gonna need Poteet in your back pocket as a starter to come up. So yeah, it's gonna suck. It's not gonna be a popular move, but sometimes what's necessary isn't always popular. And so you would move Poteet to the minor leagues. You would option him down, keep him stretched out.
Yeah. And they know they can use that option all year. That's why they're going to do it. Marinaccio as well. Next year is when they'd have a decision to make on guys like Marinaccio and Yoendrys Gomez because they'd be out of them. But for now, they can use it to however they want. They can send him down, wait 10 days, call him up, send him down, wait. They can keep doing that left and right unless they get a trade offer for one of those guys, which it's potential that Marinaccio is moved in a trade if they don't want to use him past this year. But that's another conversation.
Yep, and we're watching closely. It's going to be we'll definitely know when we do our show on Wednesday what the decision was, one way or another. So we're either going to be evaluating Game 1 leading into Poteet's start, or celebrating the return of Garrett Cole. So it's Wednesday is definitely going to be a show to listen to and join us for. And we do want to thank everybody that has joined us when they're on YouTube in the chat with us. We appreciate every single one of you. If you are watching on Facebook and Twitter, you are just as valuable as anybody else. So we thank you guys for listening in.
Make sure you call it the Facebook.
Oh, it's the Facebook?
The Facebook, yeah.
The Facebook, okay.
But you weren't there for the stream against the Dodgers. There's a reason why I'm calling it the Facebook.
So just remember to hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. And as I always like to say, with us pinch ice or pride and play hard.